What is up, Proveit Nation? Blake Mallen here, president of Proveit. We are live streaming inside the Drink Ketones Daily Facebook group. We are in store for a treat tonight. I'm going to give us a minute here. This is going to be a conversation that you're going to want to share. I'm telling you that right now up front with everybody you know that's a part of the ketone conversation. So if you want to take a minute and you're joining us live, tag some of your friends in the comment chain below. If you're catching us on replay, that is okay. Say hi, say high five. Let us know where you're from. I know we have a global audience inside the Proveit community, inside this specific Facebook group. And for those of you that have been engaged, have been plugging in, it's iFast week here at Proveit. We are doing a community-wide simultaneous sync up all around the world. We are all iFasting this week with Ketones, a brand new program we introduced at the start of this year, combining a variety of our technologies now with the daily routine of intermittent fasting. We're doing our timed eating window, 8 hours of eating, 16 hours of fasting, made better, made simpler, made easier with our Proveit technologies. It's been a home run campaign for us this year, and so many stories, so many transformations, so many people adjusting their lifestyle because of our community and our technology. Brian Underwood, our CEO and founder, said, hey, let's do this together. Let's get the whole energy of Proveit simultaneously focused this week. So welcome to iFast with Ketones Week. We had a chance to have a great conversation last night with the one and only Dr. Ryan Lowry. If you missed the replay, check it out in the group. And tonight, we are in for a treat. This is an individual I've had a chance to spend some time with at some Proveit events. Some of you guys saw him on stage at our last event. You probably heard his name throughout the Proveit community. And, you know, beyond me knowing him as a person and what he represents and what he's done, I got curious and I started just doing some searches online, and I found an article I want to pull up and share. I don't know if we're able to share this. I found an article that was shared a little while ago from Page 6. This is a celebrity section. For those of you guys that know, Page 6 tracks all kinds of celebrity news all around the world. And I love the headline of this. You can credit Tom Cruise's Valkyrie trainer. I remember Valkyrie. That was a good one. For Jeff Bezos's buff body. What a headline of this article. And I'm smiling because you read into it. It talks about how obviously Jeff Bezos, the Amazon founder at 57, this was from a couple years back, was, you know, everybody noticed his transformation. And it says the man behind the muscles reportedly is fitness guru Wes Okerson, whose clients have included Tom Cruise. We know that guy. His ex-wife, Katie Holmes, heard of her, as well as Gerard Butler, Sacha Baron Cohen, Isla Fisher. Great article, great accolades all around Wes, talking about how all these transformations are really attributed to Wes working with these individuals. It also says on here, it's kind of fun, Okerson was a trainer on the Netflix reality competition Strong, originally on NBC, hosted by Gabrielle Reese, and also a part of High Rock's World Series of Fitness we might talk about, and some great photos of Wes. So why am I sharing this Page 6 article? Because that's our guest tonight, guys. Beyond all of the celebrity news, beyond all of the celebrities he's trained, he's an individual. It's a friend of our community, a friend of our CEO, a friend of our leaders, a friend of Proveit, a believer in our technology and ketones, someone who's taking time away from his crazy travel schedule to come to our events, support our community. Some of our provers have had a chance to work out with them in person at some of our past events, and just an awesome individual and an awesome relationship. And he's live with us tonight for a special candid conversation, none other than Wes Okerson. Wes, how you doing, brother?
Man, I am doing great. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing excellent. So I think you just touched down up in Seattle?
Yeah. I just got here today, actually, about like 2 hours ago.
Oh, I love it. I know you're all over the place and your schedule's hectic. So first and foremost, just thank you for spending some time with us tonight. I know our community is excited to learn. You know, I was having some fun. I love that article. And I want to ask you, though, just for those in our community that maybe haven't heard your story, haven't seen you on a Proveit stage, maybe just give a little bit about just kind of your background, how you found your way into fitness, what you do currently.
Yeah. All right. So I started as a baseball player in college out at University of Maryland, and then I ended up moving to Los Angeles in 2004. which was kind of crazy because I didn't really know anybody when I got to Los Angeles. I kind of worked my way up through the ranks in the training world. I was able to get a opportunity to work with Tom Cruise in end of 05 when he was coming off of the infamous couch jump. And he married Katie. I came in, and it was this kind of weird 2-year gap where he was overweight. He hadn't really worked out much, and he was getting ready for Mission Impossible at the time 4, which is crazy to think how long ago that was. And so for that 2-year gap, we shot Valkyrie. He did a couple other movies, Tropic Thunder. If you've never seen it, it's really funny. And yeah, he got all the way ready for MI4 and then did that film. And I moved on from there. Started working with Gerard Butler, his wife, or I'm sorry, Jerry, Sacha Baron Cohen, and then his wife, Isla Fisher. And then Strong came along in 2016, end of 2015, where it was a reality show on NBC, and we competed for 10 weeks for, I think it was like $500,000. We had to take a client, help them lose weight, and train them in these competitions to stay on week to week. So not only did we coach them, we competed with them. I ended up, the shows, you can still find it on iTunes. So kind of spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear this part, close your ears. I ended up made it to the 8th of 10 episodes and finished in 4th place in the show. A few seconds away from getting in the final episodes. But yeah, now I'm here. You kind of see who the client I'm working with now. I can't confirm that or deny that, but it's publicly known for the most part. And yeah, and I've been part of the Proveit community since early 2016, which is, God, it seems like forever ago now, which is funny.
I love it. Well, I mean, part of me just wants to ask you all kinds of questions of like how you ended up in this celebrity world and what's it like to work with people like Tom Cruise and Bezos, but that's not the point of today's conversation, but I'm just fascinated by it. And obviously I know you respect all the privacy and confidentiality, and that's why you've gotten to where you've gotten. But let's talk about your relationship with Proveit. You've been a friend of the community. I know you're really close with a lot of our leadership, built a great relationship with Brian. How'd you find out about Proveit? You know, how long you've been drinking ketones? What have you seen with our technology and some of your clients out there?
Yeah, so a buddy of mine from the show back in 2016 said, hey, have you ever had exogenous ketones? And I was like, I don't, I knew what ketosis was. And at the time I was kind of messing around with trying to get into ketosis through the diet. And I was with my friend Kelly, and she's kind of an expert in that. And so I told her, hey, there's this supplement available. It's called Keto OS at the time, and it can put you into ketosis in 45 minutes. And she's like, really? And I said, yeah, do you want to come check it out with me? So I ended up meeting Michael at the time, gave me a sample. I took the sample on the spot. And I would say my initial reaction was, well, I live in LA, so we're stuck in traffic for a minimum of an hour going anywhere in any direction. So I had gotten to that meeting and I was really hungry. And I remember I had it with some coffee. I actually had a decaf, and then I put the old chocolate swirl in it. And I remember for the next like 3 to 4 hours, I really wasn't hungry at all, but I had a lot of energy. And I was like, maybe that's like a placebo effect. I wasn't sure. So I took a few more samples before workouts. At the time, I was doing this really intense class called Fight Bike, and I would do my ketones like an hour before class. And I had this crazy energy during the workout. And then after, I could keep going without this like heavy crash of needing to eat. And I was really kind of, whoa, okay, this is kind of cool. And I ended up kind of using the product and then reaching out to Josh at the time. And then I ended up signing up and becoming a promoter back in, end of 2016, I'd say.
Okay.
And it's kind of been in the community. I've been using the product since then, using the cream, using the ketones. When the Max came out, we started using that. And then I do love I do like the carbonated cans a lot. One of my favorite things. So yeah, that's
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's amazing. So since 2016, way back, you're like Proveit OG.
Yeah, man, only 2 flavors when I first started, which is crazy to think.
Oh, it's been probably awesome just for you to watch it grow and be alongside of the community. And I guess, beyond, I guess, your personal testimony with ketones, have you seen any results or feedback with anybody you've shared it with, either clients or friends, or, what have you seen and what's kept you to be a fan of this technology for so long?
Yeah, I think for me, early on when I first started kind of distributing out and getting some friends and some like closer clients, and what it was for them was a great tool early on where they were sticking more to eating better versus they never really had a tool to, they were doing the workouts, but they were always eating too much. And that was kind of always the big problem you have in this whole thing is people are going to, you can't you can't train more than what you're eating. So meaning you can't just eat a bunch of food and then go and train it off. It's just never going to work unless you're a decathlete or, training 5 hours a day. It's not going to happen. So there's having something that really curbed people from eating more and getting them fat adapted so that they're utilizing more of their fat as energy was something that I was like, well, this is great. So I started getting us a lot of clients of mine early on, and I was using it times when I was cutting weight for some of the races I do. Because being leaner for me is a big win. Carrying less fat is always, you just have to be low body fat for some of the races I do. And that's really what I've seen from, losing body fat to just losing overall volume of size, people cutting on the volume of food they're actually eating, to the performance side where people are getting better workouts. They're, I'll talk about this in a minute, utilizing the idea of fasting. So it's like one of the best tools I've ever seen for trying to get through like a fasted window, for people who are used to eating right when they get up to a few hours before they go to bed. We're just eating too much food, too much volume of food for the most part. So this is now becoming like a new thing for a lot of people. Like, how do I condense my eating into a smaller window and not feel like I'm starving all day? And I think, well, I know that ketones have been like instrumental in that whole process. And I think the iFast is like an amazing tool, amazing product that there's really nothing like it on the market right now in terms of like really shedding weight and size in a very, very short time.
I love the way you just put that, Wes, because it was very organic, right? So what you experienced yourself and what your clients experienced is what our whole community experienced, right? So we start drinking ketones, and the way you describe it's perfect. It kind of helps us get back a healthy relationship with food, right? Mm-hmm. And most people just have an unhealthy relationship. We're eating too much. We're eating too often. We've been programmed and trained through media. We've been conditioned, right, through right. food companies and addicted, and we're eating too often, too much. And ketones are a tool to get us back to a healthy relationship with food. And I found myself the same thing. I kind of like accidentally started intermittent fasting. I didn't even know it was a thing. I drink my nat in the morning and I just don't eat till I'm hungry. And I didn't even know intermittent fasting, what it meant. I've been accidentally doing it for a while, but I love the way you put it. Now we've kind of created a program around it, a structure around it, a system around what has been happening naturally and organically. And I know you're super excited about iFast, obviously combining intermittent fasting with all of our technology, a simple system, diet agnostic, anybody can do, and the results are crazy. Maybe kind of speak to that, how you see intermittent fasting coming together with ketones, your excitement around iFast. Would love your perspective.
Yeah. Well, first of all, like the one thing people would ask me is, so if I'm doing intermittent fasting, like what does it exactly mean? Do I have to do 24 hours of no food? Can I eat at 10? Do I stop eating at 6? Well, now you just follow basically the guidelines of what the iFast is. And it's pretty easily laid out so that it takes away a lot of the guesswork. And the truth is, I think that for a lot of people, when you are, let's say you're going to do a workout, let's say you're going to go for a light run or walk for 45 minutes to an hour. Most people feel like the first thing they need to do is eat before they work out. I need to have a banana. I need to have some nuts. Most of the time, you don't need to eat really that many calories or any calories before that kind of a workout. Now, if you're going to do like a heavy spin class, maybe that's different. But when we're talking about just getting out and moving your body, when I say zone 2 cardio, I mean where you can, when you're moving, you can have a conversation with somebody. So, and you can really do that every day for like an hour. So now you've got the ability to push a lot of your food into a smaller window. You can start doing your hour of movement a day. When I say zone 2, like I said, it's that lower heart rate where you can talk to somebody. And you don't need all this extra calories, all this extra food. We way overeat for athletic events. I mean, people are taking in way too much, like, especially like the electrolyte drinks. I mean, even some of the electrolyte powders have like 25 grams of carbs. I mean, that's a lot of extra sugar, unless you're going to go be in like 90-degree sun heat for like an hour and you're going to be dumping a lot of sweat. You don't need that. And there's only like a few people in my life that even train in that kind of climate. So with ketones, the fast and moving, you could basically really, really, really hone in, drop a ton of weight, not only just weight, but fat weight. And that's the kind of weight that you want to drop. And that's what I'm always telling a lot of my clients is, let's not worry too much about the number on the scale. Like, worry about how you're feeling, how your body's feeling, how your clothes are fitting, how you're moving better. And then you can start upping your workouts a little bit and upping the game as you go along.
You know, I think all that's great. And I want to get to movement here in a second as well. I heard you mention that. And I've never asked you this, and I want to be respectful of obviously you needing to maintain privacy and confidentiality with the type of clients you have. But like, even prior to iFast, were you recommending intermittent fasting to some of your clients, like prior to this program? And if so, how long has this been a part of your kind of tool set or your conversation?
Long time. I was messing around with intermittent fasting probably, I would say, at least 2018, 2019, when I started racing. Because for me, I was trying to do a lot of my training like, I would wake up, let's say at 6 or 7, and I wouldn't eat any food. Like, I would do some like coffee. I do like my keto cream in the coffee in the morning. It's kind of just my thing. I have to have it. And I wouldn't eat any solid food. And I would typically do my first workout in the morning. And I would try to go as long as I could without eating to see how, like, this whole thing, how I would feel. Because I felt that I knew I was burning predominantly more fat. So I was like, well, how much can I actually lose? How much body fat can I actually lose doing this? And I noticed I was able to really lean down when I first started messing around with this, because then I would have my ketones kind of like mid part of my day, do another workout, and I could get to like 1 or 2 o'clock. And it was pretty interesting because I was like, well, I feel pretty good. I'm still able to do my workouts. I'm drinking a lot of water and I'm not crashing. And then I can have, a protein fat meal, like some veggie carbs, and then continue throughout my day, and then really push all of my eating into that like 6-7 hours, which is really amazing. And actually, when you get used to it, you can kind of mess around with, you can live like this, where you're doing kind of like an 80% of your life where you're doing really well on this. And then I would say 20% is like fun food, if that makes sense. You give yourself some days where you eat some things that you like and indulge a little bit, but then you can jump right back in. And with fasting, getting back on track, or even just starting, let's say you're someone who just doesn't know where to start. They want to, they're thinking, oh, I got to do all this exercise, or I need to start eating all these exact type of foods. I think try just pushing the calories into that smaller window, and you'll notice that the body will really start to eat up a lot of the fat during that time when you're not eating. And the body is a very adaptive organism, and that's what it does. It starts to utilize more of those fat storage versus eating all day long. When the body's doing that, it's just burning glucose as energy because it's a fast acting fuel source.
I love the way you put it. It's simple. We all understand it. And I'm just sitting here nodding my head because it's like, yeah, this is what we're seeing and feeling. And it is something everybody can do, right? It doesn't matter what someone's dietary preference is.
Right.
If they're ketogenic, if they're low carb, if they're vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, carnivore, like, if we just take what we're already eating and just, as you said, condense the window, add ketones as a tool to not only make it easier, give us the energy, satiate us, right, elevate our mood, but also amplify the benefits, we start to experience enhanced results without changing the amount of food we're eating. And then what happens is we start to make better decisions about our food. I love that. Before we go to movement, is there any other tips? Because we probably have a lot of people that are watching this, or might get tagged in this, or might watch this later, that the iFast is maybe their first 5 days, maybe ever, intermittent fasting, and drinking ketones. So like, what tips do you have, just kind of like trainer Wes, for like someone just getting started, not sure what to go? Like, this is my first time
Yeah.
intermittent fasting, drinking keto. Any tips, any hacks,
Yeah.
any tools?
I would say, like, in the very beginning, it's going to feel weird going these big blocks of time without eating. And yes, you will feel hungry at certain times. But what I like to say is there's a few fun hacks. I love sparkling water. I almost to the point where I need to be like cognizant because I'm not drinking just flat water anymore. So sparkling water is actually kind of like an easy hack because it really fills you up. I'm not saying don't go crazy on it, but a lot of times when you feel like you're hungry, you're probably more just dehydrated or thirsty. So I would say have water available and drink a lot of water. And you'll notice that, you're like, oh wow, I'm actually not as hungry as I thought I was. If you're someone that like doesn't like coffee and you're worried about, I know a lot of people use coffee as like a hack where if they're hungry, they'll have some, they can knock out a meal and instead they'll drink coffee and it acts kind of like a depressant for food. But you can do other things to kind of, like I said, sparkling water. I would kind of stay away from chewing gum and things like that because the salivary amylase gets activated and that actually tells your body to start digesting, which actually makes you hungry later. So I wouldn't do that. After like the first day or two, what's going to happen is you'll notice that it's not as bad as you think. And when you do eat meals, you'll start to see that when you're eating like protein, some fats, and if you're doing veggie carbs, it's going to expand, it's going to fill you up if you're eating those types of foods versus like more processed foods. It'll keep you full longer, if that makes sense. I would just say trust the process because it works. I mean, it really does. And it's not really as mentally tough as people make it out to be sometimes. So I would just say get going. And after a day or two, I feel like you'll notice like, oh, I can definitely do this,
Such great tips. And I love what you said earlier, that it's like, get it 80% right and 20% fun food. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it still works. Like, and that's what makes it amazing. Anybody can do it. Eat the same thing. You don't have to be perfect. You can be flexible. You don't have to count this calorie, that this macro, and it still works. I mean, from what I've seen, this is my, my observation. I think it's impossible for someone to fast with ketones for any period of time and not get a result. Like, I think it's my personal opinion. I'm not the doctor. It's not a claim. I just think it's biologically impossible that if you just intermittent fast with ketones, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you're going to see a transformation.
I totally agree. Yeah. You definitely will see a bit, certainly you're going to feel it and the physical change will happen without a doubt.
I love it. So let's talk movement. I mean, obviously you're a master of this, the best of the best in the world, right? Engage you to hold them accountable. And I'm sure you could give us all kinds of different like directive on workouts and exercise, but let's just go again to like the simplest thing. What can we do every day to move, to exercise? What should we be doing to kind of amplify our benefits?
Good. So like I said, the easiest thing I say, and when I say zone 2, what I'm meaning is you have zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 being the hardest, zone 1 being kind of like walking around every day, like basically doing regular activity. Zone 2 is like a tick above that. So if you can get outside and walk at a faster pace than what you normally walk, find a little hill, walk just a little faster, that'll put you in zone 2 heart rate. You can Google what that number will be for you. This thing called the Maftone method. It's real easy to figure out. It's different for everybody based on age and a few parameters. But the basic thing is if you can hold a conversation with somebody else and you're moving and you're going faster than like a normal walk for you, not on a jog and not like getting on the bike and going hard, but you can carry a conversation, you'll probably be right around that zone 2. Get out and try to do that every day, 45 minutes to an hour. And it doesn't have to be on a bike. It can be walking. It can be find a park to find some incline hills. You could do it on a spin bike with your buddy. You can get on, if you're probably riding a bike on flat ground, you want to find some hills to it'll just tick it up a little bit. So it's just a tick and a half above what your normal kind of everyday heart rate would be. And it's absolutely doable for everybody. It's not going to burn you out. It's not going to overstress your system. If you're brand new to exercise, it's absolutely doable. And if you're doing that 4, 5, even 6 days a week, you're talking about, when you're adding up that 400 to 500, 600 calories coming out every day from exercise, like that's another huge chunk of calories out of your day. So you add that in to the already calorie deficit that you're probably going to be in from the iFast, you're going to see results, because if you're in that calorie deficit, your body loses weight. That's just the biology of it, and that's really my like very simple, easy recommendation. In terms of like strength training and all that, I mean, there are a lot of different protocols, but really this is something that everybody can do every day. I mean, I just flew in, went to the hotel gym here, put the treadmill incline at 12%, and I walked. For me, it's about a 2.8 miles an hour. And I threw my headphones on and I watched the show. 45 minutes, done. So easy. Find a good playlist on Spotify. 45 minutes, done. Make 5 calls to 5 people you haven't talked to in a while. Done. If you're a promoter, maybe reach out to some people who are on your list to call. Done. And this is like a way to incorporate just kind of like your cardio into your life. And all of a sudden you'll find this gets so much easier. And it doesn't have to be this, I got to do my exercise now. You can make it part of your everyday life, and it's totally doable. It's not going to stress you out or make you nauseous or like, this is just too hard for me, Wes. I can't, I'm not going to go do a 5K at this pace. I'm saying get out, move a little bit harder than like an everyday walk pace. I mean, I hope that kind of makes sense and that helps, but it really does. I mean, I've seen it really transform people and to get them back on like a path where they go, oh, I can do this. And then they sort of want to adding in some strength training, or they want to do one day of like a little harder intensity, or maybe I want to try running for 10 minutes while I'm doing this kind of more brisk walk. So I really think that helps a lot.
Yeah, I love the way you're saying all of this, because what I keep hearing is it's about lifestyle,
Yeah.
and you're giving us simple, practical tools that everybody can really do, right? I mean, we really can eat in a little window. We can take what's in the baggie to make it simpler. We can move as we're doing other things, incorporate into a lifestyle. And that's what this is about. There is no finish line. It's really about a lifestyle. And like you said, you can slip into this is just a way of living, not about perfection, about progress, but a way of living. Let me ask you this, Wes, because I agree 100%. And it is a lifestyle. It's become my lifestyle. It's your lifestyle. A lot of approvers in the community, it's their lifestyle. But we're also in a time where like focus and attention seems to be difficult.
Yeah.
What do you, let's say like we're all your brand new client. What kind of tips do you give on just like, how do you, for how long do we just got to give this a shot before we like give up, right? Or get distracted or try something else? Like, what do you tell your clients? Is there a certain amount of time to build the habit, or how do we get rid of this focus issue that's going on in the world right now?
Yeah. Okay. The focus thing is interesting because when people go and they start doing this, usually they're doing it like when I say like in a vacuum, like they'll go to a gym or they'll go outside and they just start walking, and all they're thinking about in their mind is how much longer they have and what, the actual part of it, the exercise, it's just stuck in their brain. Try to find something that kind of distracts you, whether it's music, a show, or maybe in your mind you can focus on something else. Maybe you're there's something that there's a problem you have to solve with work or something. Focus on that. Try not to think about it in terms of I'm doing exercise right now, because that just leads to this playback loop of exercise is hard, it sucks, I hate doing exercise. And I have people and they just bump up against that all the time. But there is something that will click. And it's weird because when it clicks, you're going to go, oh shit, dang, this is like something that I'm looking forward to doing. You really want to get to that place. You want to be looking forward to doing it, not dreading it. And I promise you, keeping it easy to begin with and making it doable in the beginning, and then progression, that's the win. Because you're only battling yourself. Forget everyone else in the world. Because the reality is, this will sound harsh, but like no one really cares about you but yourself. So if you are out there doing it for you and you're feeling good about it and you're making your own personal progress, what's going to happen is you're going to do this for a week and go in the mirror and go, I just did that for a week. Who cares what anyone else thinks? I just did that for a week and I feel really good. And you might go, maybe we can do a little more this week. Maybe I'll try it harder. And then that turns into this thing where you want to do it and it becomes habit forming. And then you're looking forward to it. And then you might start peeking around the corner and being like, oh, I'm interested in maybe doing this. Maybe I'll try some pickleball today, or maybe I'll take a spin class, or maybe I want to do that hike, or maybe I want to grab a friend and do this. And all of a sudden you're factoring it into your day. And all of a sudden now you're making time for it. And then it's becoming a priority. And I think that is really where you want to get to that place. I hope that helps.
No, I think that's beautiful. I've actually never heard anybody put it that way. So do it until you get to the point you're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And you'll continue to do it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I
promise it can happen.
No, it's perfect. I mean, it's perfect. You got to do it until you get to the point where you enjoy it. And then you don't have to try. You just enjoy it. I laugh because I've myself have gone through those stages where I had to be discipline and motivation and willpower and calendar. And then you get to point. So no, my day is not the same if I don't do it. Right. I enjoy the process. But I think that I've never heard it put that succinctly. I want to be mindful of your time, but maybe just a couple more quick questions. Sure. So we have our 5-day, right? And we did the 5-day just to create a focused 5 days, a way to kickstart the concept. And it's been amazing. It's still in beta. It's still in prototype. We're seeing a lot of people that their first 5 days they're experiencing drinking ketones, doing an intermittent fasting. It's the first 5-day program. We're also seeing people that are using this as kind of a monthly metabolic reset. They're doing a focused 5 days for the whole regiment. Then they're just drinking ketones the rest of the month, and then they do it for 5 days. We see some people that this has really become a lifestyle. They're sticking to what's in the bag 5 days a week, every week. I'm just curious your take on it, like in terms of the frequency of combining intermittent fasting with ketones. Is it a once a month thing? Is it an every week thing? What's your take?
It's interesting. So I think it can be whatever you want. I think it could definitely be an everyday thing. Certainly you can program this is pretty much your lifestyle. I know that people live in like social lives and sometimes that's not conducive. So I would say like that 80-20 rule, if you're doing this like 80% of the time, then you can take that 20% and live your life. Like if you've got a big event for the weekend, if you're doing a brunch in the morning or, you're getting up early, you want to have breakfast with your kids or a big family thing, and take that day off. I mean, it's not going to mess anything up, if that makes sense. So this is such a good tool because you can toggle in and out of it. And then I think you can even adjust it. Like you can bend and flex it a little bit where, you've done the fast for 5 days and you're thinking, all right, how do I continue this? And how do I utilize some of the other products? I mean, you can use, instead of like, you could do the 5-day fast and then the I fast. And then you can maybe I'll do my keto cream and my coffee in the morning. So that's my breakfast. And that's kind of what I do in the morning. And then I might eat at like 1 o'clock. So you're kind of still doing it a little bit. You're still kind of, I would say, fasting in a way. There's are calories in the keto cream, but you're still living in this world where you're dramatically eating less calories than traditionally what you see people do. Like get up, that traditional, like grab a bagel or a donut, or, they're having 600-700 calories in that first 3-4 hours when they wake up, and they just don't need that volume of calories. So whether you're doing the iFast the way it is intended to do, or you're kind of like flexing it a little bit, and maybe you're doing your keto cream in the morning and using that as like your breakfast, and then you're doing like an early lunch, and then maybe you're doing your ketones in the afternoon, or you're doing and then ketones again at night, the non-caffeinated one if you can't sleep, obviously. And that's a way, I think, to kind of like play around with the system. And I think it's pretty amazing, like the ability now people have to kind of to get right back into this fat adaptive state, which before we couldn't really do it. You know, you had to kind of work extreme. I mean, it's literally, to me, the keto diet to me was about the hardest thing I've ever had to do. It's much harder than any race I've ever had to do. I thought it was the hardest diet I've ever messed around with in my life.
And it's so awesome, like you're saying, that now we have the ability to get the benefits, right, without the diet, the drink, something that's simple, right? Everybody can do and flexible, like you're saying. And it's not about perfect. 80-20. I love that. Well, I want to be mindful of your time, Wes. This has been amazing. Before we kind of round out this section, number one, thank you for the time. I know you just landed. I know you've been traveling all day. I don't want to piss off Jeff. I value my Prime membership up there. So I whatever you got to do, I don't want to take more of your time. But any closing thoughts you want to give to our community or anything else, to round out your part of the conversation?
I would just say, like, if you're new to the community and this is your first time trying ketones or your first time trying the iFast, I would say you're going to see a lot of really cool stuff happen in the beginning. And it does work. Like, it is an incredible product. I mean, Proveit was first to market with something like this. And the fact that they have cultivated not only a community that's amazing, that's so what's the word I'm looking for? That's so like inclusive. The product really tastes good. So I cannot believe how many flavors they have. It blows my mind now when I'm like scrolling and I'm like, oh my God, they have another new flavor. So they have something for everybody. So there's, back in the day, you either liked one or you had to like force yourself to like one or two flavors. Now there's like 50. So outside of that, you're going to find something that actually tastes really good. And you're going to be like, wow, this is actually good for me too. This is amazing.
I love it. Wes, we appreciate you. We are so appreciative that you're a part of our community and what you give to our community. And just thank you for the time in this conversation. And, I know that our provers out there can maybe look forward to moving with you sometime in the future, some of our future events and more conversations like this. So I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, man. Bye, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Wes. You guys give Wes some love. Wes Okerson, celebrity trainer, friend of the Proveit community, dropping nuggets. I mean, just dropping some value on today's call. You guys, please get this message out to as many people as possible. This was gold. You can tag them in the comments. We're inside the Drink Ketones Daily Facebook group. And this is something that he did such an amazing job giving us, just simple, succinct tools, tips to help us iFast with ketones and move toward our own journey toward better. And what I kept hearing in all his answers is it's about a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle transformation. You can start where you are with the goals you have. You can plug into this program. We give you the tools to make it easier, simpler, better. It's going to work. It's impossible to stick with it and not get the result, but you don't have to be perfect. If you fall off the wagon, you get back on. If you mess up today, it's a fun day. Adapt. And you decide where it fits into your lifestyle, whether you're a focus 5-day and you're drinking ketones, and maybe you do the 5-day once a month just for the metabolic reset. Or you're someone that says, you know what, I can do this every day. And we make it a lifestyle. Maybe that 5 days turns to 10 days, and that 10 days turns to 20 days, and that 20 days turns into you're enjoying the process. And now this focus 5 days becomes a lifestyle, right? That's the best thing for you physically, mentally, and moves you toward, right, the best version of yourself. That's the goal, right? So wherever you're at in the journey, give yourself, and celebrate the wins, give yourself applause, give yourself respect. And don't be hard on yourself. Hey, if you fell off the wagon today, we get back on tomorrow. And what's great is we have the community here at Proveit all going the same direction to support each and every one of us in our own journey toward better, right? And you're not doing it by yourself, right? You're in a community here that is supporting you along the way. Share your journey with others, because the way we get this message out to the world is by you, right? And your own journey toward better and the excitement that you then pass along this gift with others. That's how we grow our movement. That's how we grow our mission. That's how we grow this ripple. So if you're getting value and seeing results, share the gift with others, right? And that's something that we are able to do here with Proveit. So thank you guys for the time. And this replay will remain live. So feel free to tag any friends in the comments below. Good night, everybody.